Over almost 20 years, I've seen many examples of good and not so good behaviour in front of groups of learners. Many times it was me doing the talking, but recently I was reviewing a video presentation from a seasoned facilitator, and it became very obvious to me that many of the professional behaviours I'd taken for granted may not be so widely practiced. And I don't think it's the fault of the facilitator, but rather the lack of awareness that has been drawn to this subject by the profession at large. We spend a lot of time on workshop techniques, activity planning, and the use of technology and so on, all of which are very important, but spend precious little time thinking about the 5 things I'd like to go through now. Like most of the skills we learn, these behaviours combine what we've learned maybe in other aspects of business and life, so they may not seem obvious to trainers and facilitators at first. So let's run through these together, and as we do, consider areas where these might impact you. So the first is, a leader doesn't disparage their organisation. In leadership education, we're taught that doing so will damage the trust of our staff and what trust they have in their organisation and basically leadership in general. So as facilitators, we should never find ourselves mocking or belittling the course designers, content, slides, handouts, client contacts, or our own managers if applicable. If something isn't what we'd like it to be, we save our responses for the appropriate time and place and address it with the right people, not our students. So as I mentioned, recently I watched a facilitator telling their learners that the courseware was old and had mistakes in it, and that they'd told the organisation many times to improve it, but they didn't listen. So the students would just have to deal with it. Or, better still, the facilitator would make changes as they went along to prove how smart they were. This was an attempt to remove themselves from any blame about the content rather than address it professionally. We'll look at how to do that in just a minute, but let's look at number 2 now. Embrace an internal locus of control. So another common psychology term that has made its way into leadership training. Your locus of control is where you feel the decisions that affect your life are being made. External control suggests that others around you control your behaviour and feelings. The internal locus suggests that you are ultimately in control of how you feel and what actions you take. In a facilitation setting, this means taking ownership of every situation in your training room. The internet doesn't work? Well, don't blame the facility, look for a solution. The materials didn't turn up? What could you have done to mitigate this? And if it's beyond your control, what can you do now to remedy the situation? Number 3 is to be a representative. If you attend a corporate training session in the city, what expectations would you have concerning the trainer's attire and general professional posture? These are the expectations that others will have of you in whatever setting you facilitate training, whether it's online, in a corporate headquarters, or on a building site. Dress and behave the way you'd expect the best in your industry to act. The 4th one is to be resilient. We all have low days, and it's okay to feel whatever you feel as a result of the situation you might be in. A professional facilitator will do everything in their power to put aside or deal with their personal situation for the benefit of those attending their training. And if you're not sure that that's a healthy thing to do, remember your locus of control. Can you postpone the training? Can you start later to allow yourself some time to get ready? I've uttered words to this effect many times, and that is that I look forward to issues in my classes so that I get to grow. And I mean it. Give me the difficult situation. Let me see how I react. Let's see what I can learn for the next time. Remember, these are our choices, so be resilient. 5 is make mistakes. By this, I mean own your errors and move straight through them. If a slide doesn't work, or if you forget some step in an activity, if you print the wrong handout or you're unable to answer a question from a learner, make a mental or physical note to correct this for the next time, but don't make a deal of it in front of your trainees or students. Better still, do whatever you can to act like it's perfectly fine to make mistakes, because in the real world, it happens. Your learners just don't want to hear you complain or apologise. They want to see a star performer move straight through their mistakes with poise and confidence. So in reflection, please allow me to summarise these qualities and traits. Firstly, never criticise the training in front of your learners. No matter what's going through your mind, just hold course and maintain your composure. Maintain your locus of control as internal as possible. Be the solution to your problems and don't blame others. Represent your organisation and yourself with dignity and integrity. Look the part. Hold yourself well and lead from the front. When things are tough, be tougher. We grow when we're regularly put under pressure, from weight training and running to dealing with conflict and intense emotional situations. The more we face it, the more resilient we become. And finally, be free to make mistakes. Don't let them define your training session. Move on and show your learners how confidently you can deal with problems. They'll respect and trust you even more.